Candace, you're muted.
I'm sorry. My internet is acting up, but like Holly said, my name is Candace Cunningham. I work at the Institute for Human Development, and I will be facilitating this conversation today. If you just give me 1 minute, I'm trying to share my screen. Um, um, this Are you able to see my screen?
It looks like it's trying to come up, but right now we have a white screen.
Okay.
And it does say you're sharing content, but we
Okay.
can't see anything but a white screen.
Um, well, so I'm gonna introduce why this is trying to come up. I'm gonna introduce the panelists, the speaker. We have Marcy from Ohio. Um, sorry, I'm so sorry. This is so bad.
It's okay. It's not a technology fest without some technology gremlins.
Yeah, we have Christine. Christine from she's located in Springfield, Missouri. Um, we have Jonathan, who is, I believe, located in Missouri too, and then there's two more. I'm so sorry. Um,
Brandy?
Brandy, who's located in Missouri, and then um, Christopher.
Christopher Cooling.
Chloe, thank you. I apologize. I'm so sorry. So, since my PowerPoint isn't working right now, what we're gonna do now is go backwards. I hope that's okay with everyone. We're gonna ask a question, and then hopefully my video will work well. We can show you how they um use technology. So the first question that I would ask you guys is, when you first started using technology, how did you, the people that is in your circle, support you with making that decision? This is so bad. Did you guys hear that question? Christine, would you like to answer that first?
Yeah, I actually had a great support system, especially when I started working. I work at Abilities First, and it was actually their main goal to figure out what sort of technology that they could provide me in order to do the job that I needed to do. So we had scheduled something with an access technology expert at our um, independent living center. And so we went through different types of technology and figured out what I couldn't use that would help me out. So I had a really great support system, and then everybody just tried to help utilize it inside my home as well.
Awesome, thank you. Marcy, would you like to answer that question?
Yes. My support system, they help me out a lot. I used to live with roommates and I lived with my mom. So when I began to live with one one of the roommates that I had when I first started technology in my home, I talked to my service coordinator, my support person. She's also my friend, and then also my provider and my remote support provider. And the things I needed in my home, like I needed a smart lock because I can't use my left hand to open up my door. I was scared to stay home alone. So I I got the cameras and my remote support could see me. I still have my independence, but I have like a lot of technologies that I have a portal where I can talk to my provider. So all those supports that help me get to where I am today, that I can stay home alone and be independent without a staff for a while, it was perfect.
I unfortunately think we have lost Candace. So I will just move this question forward to Jeremiah. Jeremiah, how did you get your support to assist you with your technology goals?
My support tax has helped me real well.
Your supports have helped you really well.
Yeah.
When we started, we had a lot of problems, and Jeremiah's current living situation was ISL services was something that we just couldn't continue. And so we used the video cameras through Rest Assured, and we had heard about them at a technology summit, and we met with that agency, and they just walked us through the process. And it took everybody to make it happen for us, for sure. And we wrote a very, very extensive support plan. We used multiple technologies when we started. We actually had a tracking bracelet on Jeremiah.
And we don't use it.
We don't use that anymore because we don't need it. He's developed the skill to be safe and in his own home, and made that move. And when we moved into this first apartment by himself, up until that point, Jeremiah had never been physically alone anywhere in his whole life. He was 26 years old. And so as his mom and guardian, we had lots of concerns, what ifs, all the what ifs. And so we wrote all these contingencies, and we're in our 10th year now, and all those what ifs have happened through the years, and the
I'm
systems
moving
have
up
worked
to the
for
next
us.
step. I'm moving up to the next step on my technology.
Wonderful. Chris, how did you get your support team?
Well, I used to live in Columbus, Ohio, and I had some bad services and really bad people taking advantage of me, that I wasn't really seeing it, um, and realizing that that's what was happening at that moment. And so when it got really worse, and I had to leave Columbus because of my mental health, and my service coordinators and everybody there didn't really do anything for me. So I came back to Portsmouth, Ohio, um, and I stayed with my mom for a couple months, to get my mental health back in order. Um, and so I realized I really wanted to get back out on my own. And I was scared because the bad situation going to happen that happened in Columbus would happen here if people found out that I was living back on my own. So I talked to my SSA in Cider County, Ohio, and I was the first one to be able to use Safe and Home in Portsmouth, Ohio. And they, my SSA said that we could try that and see how it worked. And I said okay. And then Safe and Home came in and showed me everything, and I would in my mind, like, I don't want all these cameras. I don't want people seeing everything. And then I questioned myself about, you don't want the things that happen in Columbus to happen here. So, you know, that's a good protection for me, and helping me be back on my own. And so I said yes to Safe and Home. They came in, they hooked everything up, and I was able to actually lay down and not worry about nothing for 9 hours and sleep for 9 hours. And because I realized that I have an extra ear, an extra eye, to help me be more independent and not worry about those things happening ever again. Now I can work on my future, because I have Safe at Home to help me, guide me. They became a friend. They're not really a support team. They became my friend. And so that's what really helped me to get, and my SSA listening to me, and helping me overcome those fears, and everything. So that's how I became connected with remote support technology.
Wonderful. Brandy, what was what what was it like to get your support circle on board?
My service coordinator wasn't familiar with some of the assistive technology for the blind, but he did research. And one of the first things that I said was, I want to be as independent as I possibly can and be able to use technology to do that, which he got we have a talking microwave, and that was one of the first things that he was able to get, through my services. And my staff were totally on board. They were on board with it from the beginning. So I didn't really have any issue with, getting them to agree or, let me try it out.
Okay, great. Our next question circles around fear. What were your fears getting started with technology?
Would you like me to go ahead and start that as well?
Yes, please, Christy.
Okay. I think some of my fears, like anybody else, when you have different types of technology in your home, is your privacy. And so those were some of my things, just because so much of your life is out in the open. And so I think in doing that, just knowing that I still had my privacy, but yet when I wanted to reach out, that I could. Um, I think also just not knowing what my options were. There were so many things that I felt like I could do and I wanted to do, but I didn't really know what those options were and wasn't sure who to reach out to. And so that was kind of a little scary at first.
It sounds a little scary. Uh, Marcia, what were your fears?
My fears was like I was scared to stay home alone. So when I learned about the cameras, the privacy, and then I was like, I hope it doesn't go in my bedroom. But then I found out that they don't go in there. And then just dealing with like like the electric or something might go out or something like that, and I won't have my remote support, and the fear in that because I wouldn't be able to use my cameras, use my doorbell because they're all a part of the thing with electricity. And so that's one thing that I was scared of.
Okay. Jeremiah, what was one of your fears?
My big fear is somebody broken in my house. It's one of my big fear.
Jeremiah was worried that somebody would break in, and we did have that happen in his apartment, and the system that worked exactly as it should, and could have gone another way, but that's what happens in real life. The individual came into his apartment, and of course the telecare staff knew nobody was supposed to be there, and they came on the screen and said, "Excuse me, what are you doing here?" And just really freaked the guy out. And so he proceeds, they're having this conversation while they're calling the police, and Jeremiah's in his room asleep the whole time.
I'm
It is,
afraid someone, you know,
Yeah.
stole my stuff,
Yeah.
and then I'll put it to the police.
and you know, he could have gotten volatile in there, but you know, that's the risk in life.
And that guy's
And it
still,
worked,
you
and
know,
we've had his building struck by lightning, and there's been
and
fires.
fires a few times.
Of course, as his mom, my concern that he would leave or, you know, find the opportunity to seek food. Jeremiah has Prader-Willi syndrome, and so typically that's one of the first people on your list that you say, oh, no, they could never do it. But we've done it, and you know, just as situations arise, we revamp the plan. We make sure that the protocols are in place, and we manage.
Wow, that's a lot of things happening with remote supports. I'm glad you guys stuck with it. Chris, you shared a few of your fears with us about getting your staff on board. Would you like to add anything?
Well, yeah, you're right. I did share some of my fears. Um, they really, I mean, the only fear was is that, you know, um, being on social media and saying, you know, I love my home, I like where I am, and, you know, just expressing my feelings about, you know, my situation sometimes to my friends on social media. And my fears were that, you know, those folks that were in the past would see where I am, or kind of just see you know, that I'm living on my own, and try to come back and take advantage of my situation because I couldn't hear and I couldn't see very well. They thought it was pretty, you know, it was a pretty easy way to take advantage of someone. Um, you know, they're like, you know, he can't hear, so he ain't gonna hear it, he ain't gonna see it, you know, and people moving in, and you know, and not realizing that they were actually moving in. um I thought they were just staying for a day or two, but no, they were moving in. But so my biggest fear was that you know, that they would come back and try something different. But now I don't have those fears because I have Safe at Home and my remote support team, and anytime I need to talk to them. And my SSA here in Sauter County, they were awesome and able to get me connected to Safe at Home.
Wonderful.
That's all.
Randy, I think you're up.
No, I am. My fears were not knowing how the technology worked exactly. Like an example would be my toaster oven. I have a fear of heat. And so using the big oven was not really a good thing for me. So just getting used to this, how small the toaster oven is, and making sure the mode is correct and the time is correct, because it has different modes. And so and like the talking microwave, same kind of thing, but it wasn't as complex as the toaster oven is.
I've unfortunately we weren't able to get the PowerPoint to work, but I just wanted to let everyone know that we are going to post it to the Technology Summit page. And there are videos of each one of these amazing folks using their technology. And I really encourage you all to go out and take a look at how they use technology in their day-to-day life, so you can get a better sense for what they're discussing with us today. I'm going to go ahead and move on to question number 3. And what challenges did you face and how did you overcome those challenges? So we're going to go through the same order again. Christy, will you start us off?
My challenges, like I had said before, was just finding out what sort of technology was out there and then getting access to it. A lot of times, some of the technology can be very expensive. So be able to find different grants and assistance with that was a challenge at first, just the unknown. I think, and then a lot of it is just learning how to use some of the technology. They require different apps, and sometimes there's different commands that you have to give each of them. So that could be a little challenging and just figuring out the technology speech.
Yes, and there is a lot of acronyms when it comes to technology. So, Marcy?
The challenges that I had was, like I said before, when I moved into my new apartment, I had a challenge is my internet. And my internet kept on going on and off. And so I couldn't talk to my remote support video chat and different things and look into my Ring doorbell or anything. So those were that was a challenge for me. So I had to go to another internet company and also like the routers and the Wi-Fi's that those really gave me trouble. So by going with a different company, it's better now, and I got new stuff to it, and it's working better now. So I really feel more comfortable, and my remote support provider helped me with it.
Great. Jeremiah, what challenges did you face and how did you overcome some of those?
I'm overcome the fear,
Overcame your fear of being alone.
alone, out, out roommate.
That was a big change for
A
you.
big change for me.
Yeah. When we started, we were the first in Missouri to try this. And so we were literally flying by the seat of our pants, so to speak. I mean, the guideline was being written as it was happening, and how those funding sources would come. We had a hard time figuring out how to pay for the internet, to make the system run. And it was a few restless nights on Mama's part, no doubt about that. There were the challenges of, when the system went down, how long do we wait?
It's
Does
still
somebody
goes
go
down.
over?
Still
It happens every now and then, but we figured out a way, and we've taught Jeremiah and held him to the standard that he has to show up in his own life. He has to help himself be safe and healthy in his own home for us to maintain this. There were times in his life where it felt like everybody else was working super hard to make him successful, and he wasn't putting any effort in. And for this to continue, he has to play a role of responsibility in his
I
own
got a
life.
plan not to become the justice of Brooklyn. I got a plan.
He's got lots of plans, so we have a good opportunity for a nice future for him.
Wonderful. Chris, what were some of the challenges that you were able to overcome?
Well, I had to overcome the fear, but really to say that I had any challenges because my SSA was right there, and Stephen Home was really good in helping me understand how it works. Um, you know, they were a little bit you know think we had to establish, like the camera, we didn't know where to put it. So we figured that out. But I have to say, I didn't have a lot of challenge. Getting technology wasn't really a big challenge for me because Safe at Home was awesome. Coming in, talking to me about it, communication was good. And I'd have to say that between them and my SSA, communication was awesome. So I really didn't have a lot of challenges on that part.
All right. Brandy, what challenges were you able to overcome?
Well, one of the challenges, I'm not a manual reader. Like, you get a piece of technology, you have to read how to use it. So the good thing was the toaster oven had a CD with it. And so I listened to that CD, and that's how I learned how it was, how to use it. Um, one of the challenges that I just thought of was remembering which button did what. Um, I know sighted people have that issue as well in certain things. So, but that was a challenge because um, the layout of the buttons on the toaster oven is the same as the microwave, except uh, obviously the buttons on the microwave do different things than the toaster oven buttons. So just getting used to that aspect of it. Like sometimes I would hit the start button and I hadn't set my time. You can't start it without setting a time on it.
Right. So a lot of learning curves were involved with technology. It sounds like. So question number 4, what has improved in your life since starting the use of technology?
My goodness, that's a very huge question. Lots of things have changed because the fact that I do live independently, it's made a big difference on me being able to turn on my lights. I can adjust my heat. I can get in and out of my front door, into my garage. I can drive. I mean, I feel like it's endless, the possibilities that it's made for me and really just enhanced my independence.
Marcy, what's improved in your life?
It's made me more independent because I lived with my mom for most of my life before she passed away. And so having the Ring doorbell where I can see who's at my door and my smart lock and all these technologies that I have in my home, all of it makes me feel safe. So when my staff leave, I know I'm okay because I have the remote support looking at me. And if I need to call, I will call them on my Facebook portal on Messenger if I need any help. So I know that I'm safe and secure. And then like I have trouble with my legs, so I have a smart light, and only thing I need to say is for it to turn out my lights. And through all this stuff, it's made me more independent. It's taught me about cooking and just being learning new things around my house and how to cook and how to do other things that I didn't do before when I lived with my mother.
Jeremiah, what's improved in your life since starting technology?
You know, that's the same question we answered before.
Okay, so do you feel like things have improved in your life?
It's the same thing.
Yeah, you feel like he feels like his life is, he's living a good life for himself. I know for me, since Jeremiah's not had to have a roommate, that's helped with a lot of behaviors, and we still have them. Okay, no plan, no system is perfect. We have to stop and back up and rework and figure out new ways because he's always figuring stuff out on me, which is good. Which is
Yeah.
good.
I got a new IPP opportunity that might have a lot.
Yeah, we have to change the ISP quite a bit, but for me, it's peace of mind. And I would tell you that I think almost every parent worries what will happen to their children when they're gone. And this isn't perfect, but I know if something happened to me today and I couldn't be in Jeremiah's life, things would change for him, but they wouldn't fall apart because he has a life of his own. It doesn't revolve around me. It doesn't there's a circle of people supporting him. And I think that's been a real peace of mind for me.
Wow. Chris, what's improved in your life since starting the use of technology?
I have to say, my mental health and my fears had been a whole lot better since technology came in my life. Um, and learning new things has helped. So I know I told my whole life story before, but you know, it's my mental health and my fear.
Yeah, mental health is important, especially nowadays. It feels like it's been a topic that we're finally paying a little bit more attention to. Brandy, what's improved in your life?
Well, I am able to be more independent, especially when it comes to cooking. Um, at one point, I wasn't very confident in my cooking abilities, and so having these appliances helps me, one, try new things, and two, um, just improve on what I already know.
Right. Our final question before we move into open discussion is if you could give one piece of advice to someone, what would it be? Christy, would you like to start us off again?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing I would say is don't be afraid to ask. A lot of times, just the unknown when you have difficulties or challenges, just to reach out to those around you because you never know what someone else might know that you don't. And that kind of opened up a lot of avenues for me just to try different things. So just remember just to ask people for help.
Marcy?
Um, I would say asking, like she said, asking people for help, and like if they need help, like go to your SSA and your service coordinator, your county boards, and you can do things like this. It can teach you how to get remote support and the resources, and just learning about different things, different conferences. If you want to have a provider, it could give you a list of providers. So don't be scared to trust into the disability field.
All right. Jeremiah, what would you give advice to for someone starting out in technology?
I asked them, you want to to try this or fail.
It's a point where you try it, you might fail, you might back up and have to rework your plan, but that's okay. You know, there's a dignity of risk, and we've often denied that to individuals with disabilities. You know, that's where we learn what's important in life. If it's important enough, you figure out a way to make it work for yourself. And I would challenge parents and guardians to see their individuals as people with skills that need to be learned. We would often stop and say, what's the biggest obstacle? And then back it up from there. How do we make this in incremental steps? And what's the beginning basis? Where's the skill he's lacking? And we would work on that. And then we've got that one done. We move to the next level. And, you know, he does a whole lot of things that a lot of people never ever thought we would do. And we're proud of him. And I think that everybody wants that, to live a life and have pride in it.
That sounds like a wonderful success story. Thank you for sharing that with us. Chris, what would your one piece of advice be?
I would say, we have the ability to do things in life. She was just saying that even though mom and dad and friends and families or whoever it may be is scared to let go. Um, you know, and don't be afraid to work with your SSA service coordinator, counselor, and and and, and let them know that you want to be independent. You want to be able to try it. Um, and don't be afraid to talk about um, bring up the technology part. Like here in Ohio, we have a bill, a law here in Ohio that every service coordinator and SSA had to talk to you about technology. It's called Ohio Technology First. And so don't be afraid to speak up and talk about it. And if you feel like that you can't do that, have a good friend to help you or a family member to help you to speak up and talk about independence and technology. That's it.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Brandy, what would your one piece of advice be?
Don't be afraid to try something new. You never know, as Jeremiah's mom said, you never know. You might try, you might fail, but also be open if your service coordinator asks you something like, what are some technologies that might help you? Be open to let them know so that they can assist you.
Wonderful. Those were our panelist questions. As this is a WebEx meeting, you're able to raise your hand, come off video, come off mute, and ask any questions or start a conversation with us. If you don't feel comfortable speaking, you can also drop anything that you want to know about in the chat box, and we can also answer questions directly from there.
Well, I hope this is okay, but I'm one of the Missouri representatives with Safe and Home, and this is my first time to get to see Chris in person. I've seen him on all the videos, and I just wanted to say, hi, Chris.
Hey.
It's so good to meet you.
You too.
I want to be your friend too, okay?
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. Thanks.
Kathy, you brought up a great point. After this session is complete, we will be opening up rooms, technology tech fest rooms, where a group of our technology providers that are contracted here in the state of Missouri have chosen to have virtual rooms. So you can access that by going to our Technology Summit event page, clicking on the button that says Tech Fest, and then going to visit whichever technology provider you'd like to have a conversation with, a one-on-one conversation in a virtual room. So thank you, Kathy, for sparking my memory. And if anyone's interested, they can actually have a direct conversation with you right in that room.
Access the videos again that we did.
Yes, the videos and the whole PowerPoint, along with this recording of our presentation, and the closed captioning will all be posted to the Technology Summit event page. So underneath join a session, if individuals scroll down, instead of it saying join the session, it'll say presentation. So we're just updating that so they one click and get all the good stuff.
I really encourage
And
that.
hopefully no more technology gremlins.
Right.
They're all done for the day.
I encourage everyone for that too, because it's a difference as answering the questions and literally seeing it at work. And so the videos are pretty detailed, and it kind of helps explain the technology that we're using and how it works.
Yes, all of the videos were fantastic, and you guys put so much work into them. I can't wait to get them up on the site so people will be able to view them. They're really, really well done, and I'm a little bummed that our gremlins got the better of us and we weren't able to share them with everyone.
I don't feel bad because yesterday, Ohio Tech Ambassador kickoff event, we didn't have it because Zoom decided not to work.
So I guess today was WebEx's turn, huh?
Right. Right. Well, so there is other people watching us, right?
Yes.
Well, I would like to throw it out there since nobody has questions or anything. Throw it out there to parents, families, whoever, you know, make sure that we look at an individual with disability as a person, and not look at them as a person, an individual, and not their disability. Back in the day, probably 14 years ago, um, there was a deafblind guy here in Portsmouth, Ohio, and so he was battling, wanting to live independently, and mom didn't want to let him go. And when mom didn't want to let him go, that was a hard thing. And I had the opportunity to go to Helen Keller National Center for the Deaf Blind in New York for a while. And so when I came back and I heard that mom would not let this, young man live on his own or try something on his own, and at that time, we didn't have in-home support program. But I I had a meeting with mom, sit down with mom, and I said, hey, if I could do it, because my mom didn't want to let me go. There was no way my mom's gonna let me go. But she said, now she said, I don't know what you're going to be doing. You're on TV, you're on radio, you're everywhere. And so I made her proud of seeing me living independently. And so, yes, she worried maybe what I'm doing from day to day, but she don't have no fears of me living on my own now. But this young lady, I talked her into letting him go to Helen Keller National Center, which is thousands of miles away, to New York. And so when he went to New York, he started learning more communication, technology, what's out there to help him. And they also have an apartment on campus that individuals can stay in and learn how to be independent, cook and things. So he calls mom up and he said, "Mom, I'm going to get my own apartment when I get home." And so when he came home, he got him an apartment. Now he's working, and he's actually working and making more money than I am. I was like, hey, now, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because we looked at him as an individual. We didn't look at him as a disability. He can't do anything, and I don't like the word can't. I don't like that word can't, because we can. We may do it a different way. We may see it a different way, but we still can do the same thing you do. Um, but we just do it differently. But that's just a little thing that I want to throw out there. I don't know.
Well, thank you, Chris, and thank you for sharing that lovely success story too. I'm so excited that I got to hear so many positive success stories about how technology's improved independence, improved the ability to be independent. It's it's heart lifting, and it really helps us remember what technology can do. There's this saying out there that for most of us, technology is just what we do every day. But for folks with IDDD, technology is what makes it possible to do things every day. So I really want to appreciate and thank you again for your time
Yeah.
and your honesty and your forthright, answers. And if there aren't any other questions, I don't want to keep people just to keep people hanging on.
I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see when you post all this to your pages, um, because the reason I'm excited to see this is to because it's educating people that are not that don't have disabilities and showing those um, the businesses and our communities, hey, we have the ability to be able to have fun in our community, um, and helping educate businesses. I mean, that's my big thing, is educating businesses and communities to be accessible for people with disabilities. And when I see community events, I go out there and I'd be like, "Hey, this is not accessible. You don't have wheelchair tables. You don't have interpreters for the deaf. It's not." And they look at me like I'm crazy, but I still stand up for our community. And these videos and things that we're doing, and the video of me with Nathan Home, it really encourages others to see that we have the ability. That's all I have.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you
See ya.
again.
Yes.
Have a great day.